Final segment here of Overtime on WOTM. Mark, it's a weird year in the NFL overall. Several delays this week, so Week 15 not completely done. One of the things that we haven't seen in a very long time is Tom Brady gets shut out of a football game. Once again, it's the pesky Saints doing it yesterday. Your take on that 9-0 win in Tampa?
He's really had some issues with the Saints since he's come over to Tampa Bay. However, he does have that one playoff win against them on the road, and I think that really is where Brady makes his money is the playoffs. So you saw how frustrated he was at the end of the game, punching his
tablet.
Punching his tablet.
Right.
And it's just not something, look, I don't mean to laugh, but you don't really see Brady get that frustrated.
Yeah.
And when someone is that excellent at their job, again, I think Brady is the greatest athlete to play any sport. So to see him that frustrated, the Saints really know how to get to him. For some reason, at Tampa Bay is much worse than at the Dome in New Orleans.
Right.
And then when you look at his career, when he was with the Patriots, he didn't really have the problems against the Saints that he does now with the Buccaneers. And it seems like he has more weapons with the Buccaneers than he did with the Patriots. But you look at the fact that in 4 games with the Buccaneers, 0-4, only averaging 13.3 points, and again, shut out for the first time since December of 2006.
That's crazy.
At Miami. Completion percentage isn't where it normally is, and passing yards per game is a little low. 6 touchdowns and 8 interceptions in his 4 games. That doesn't include the one playoff game that they won. Then with the Patriots, 4-1. The team averaged almost 30 points per game, and he passed for over 285 yards a game. 11 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, much more Brady-like.
Right.
But then when you look at the home road numbers, that's even more confusing, and that does include the playoff game that they won last year. 0-2 at home, 3 points and no points.
Right.
No touchdowns, only 1 field goal in all those drives in those 2 games at home. Completing 55.8%, that is not Brady.
Exactly.
0 touchdowns, 4 picks. Like, who is this guy?
Right.
In those 2 games, it's like you almost realize maybe he didn't play. I don't know, but he was out there and he looked really confused. On the road, he's much better in New Orleans. 26.7 points per game, completion percentage a little bit back normal where it should be. 271 yards per game, around his career mark. 8 touchdowns, 4 picks, much better. And that one big road win in the playoffs against Drew Brees last year in a divisional round that got them to the championship game. And when people saw them play during the regular season against the Saints, they thought maybe they'd be susceptible to losing to them, especially, again, second time they played them last year, holding Tampa Bay to 3 points. Maybe they can beat Brady. But again, Brady makes his money in the postseason.
Exactly.
So I think while it's interesting, it's not news to me.
Right.
Beat them in the playoffs, have them be shut out in the playoffs, and then that'll really impress me.
Exactly. So we'll see what they do. Obviously, the two games they've played this year been really interesting. Struggles kind of continue for them. Meanwhile, we'll close off with some bowl picks. And a lot of times you don't really get too excited about a lot of these bowl games early on. Coming up tomorrow, we have the Frisco Bowl, UTSA and San Diego State, Missouri and Army, UCF and Florida, and then, of course, the Birmingham Bowl is an interesting one between the Auburn Tigers and Houston. Make the picks of whatever game you want to.
Well, look, the Birmingham Bowl I like because the SEC shorts and Miss Birmingham was very much what I liked. I would probably say UTSA, Missouri, Florida, and then Houston.
Exactly. I like San Diego State. They have a great punter, a great story. I think Missouri wins that Armed Forces Bowl. I think Central Florida, Auburn, former Auburn coach Gus Malzahn gets the best of the
Picking
Gators.
Missouri again, man. I should know. They screwed me so many times during the regular season.
Exactly. And then Auburn will be my last one. Final ones include some teams out of the SEC like Mississippi State, like Tennessee, and South Carolina.
Mississippi State, UCLA, South Carolina, and Tennessee.
I like Mississippi State.
Purdue.
Purdue over Tennessee?
Yes.
I like Mississippi State. I like NC State. And let's go with North Carolina over South Carolina. And I like Tennessee to get it done right there across the street over in Nashville in that big bowl game in the Music City Bowl against Purdue. Well, we are back with more overtime coming up a little bit later this week. We'll see you then.